Just 5 days to the TDC reveal, but who are the most likely candidates for this year's Transcendent Dokkan Campaign LR? How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We got another Dokkan Battle video for you here today. We decided to kind of take a moment and compile all of the running theories that we've put out for the upcoming Transcendent Dokkan campaign. Based on some of the hints we've had, we have about 5 different running theories amongst the community for who it could be. So in this video, we're going to break down each of the theories and why we think these are the most likely. Before we hop in, number one, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and let us know in the comments, right? Who do you think are the most likely candidates for the campaign? So let's get started with the first candidate, right? So we're taking a look at the known information, right? We know that over the past month and a half or so, we have been getting new missions added to the Dokkan Frontier mode. These missions have begun increasing in difficulty to the point where, right, the most recent missions are nigh impossible without certain new units, such as the Manga Frieza, that of course not everybody has summoned for. You combine that with the seemingly the seemingly destructive background of the TDC live announcement, and something I'm sure a lot of people didn't notice, but I did notice yesterday on the Dokkan home screen, the actual campaign shows a sort of scorched earth motif, but the word campaign is actually a sort of green, almost representative of a planet. So that leads me to believe one of our likely candidates for this upcoming celebration is, of course, none other than the Planet Namek Saga. Now, whether this is the most likely campaign remains to be seen, but I will say, right, the timing of the live stream, the timing of the Dokkan Frontiers, I think it would line up pretty well. I mean, it would suck that if they are planning on doing this for, say, GDC, a lot of people are going to have to wait 3 months to finish Dokkan Frontier. They could easily sell us the LRs to help complete it now, and they can start working on the next set of Frontier missions, right? So, I mean, hard to say, but I do think this is one very likely campaign for those reasons. But of course, right, we are analyzing backgrounds and text here. There's a lot this could mean, and we have to take into consideration. Now, I don't really like giving too much credence to leaks, but they are out there and we don't have any confirmation on them, but a lot of people are sort of taking to the 2 leaks that are out there. So the first one is, of course, one we've covered before, right? From an anonymous French poster on Reddit, comes to us to say that TDC will be centered around some form of movie, specifically one that is near and dear to the developers. Combine that with the second leak that appeared 2 days ago. Now, this one I'm not going to give a whole lot of credence to, but something worth considering because it does fall in line with other theories that were already out there prior to its arrival. And that is that the campaign will center around 4 LRs, seemingly hinting at the campaign for part of the campaign being centered around Dragon Ball Super Broly. Now, this kind of falls in line with what some of these, what some others have saying, right? Even Truth put out a tweet and a video talking about how a new Gogeta Blue is possible. However, right, while I do think that it is a possibility, I do think this is the least likely possibility of the of the possible different directions they could take. Number one, as we talked about in our previous video, Dragon Ball Super Broly was done already last year. We got Golden Frieza and we got Gogeta. Now, could they do a standalone Gogeta? Sure. This seems like an odd place to do it, considering the Fizz Gogeta Blue will be EZAing during the 12th anniversary. It seems like that would be a better place to do it. After all, you know, he is going to benefit the most from having a new Gogeta Blue, and not really gonna, and not to say that he can't slide in anywhere, right? He could probably easily fall into Realm of Gods, no issue, but might be better to have him more centered around a more buffed up fused fighter setup. We haven't really gotten a true standalone Gogeta Blue. It would seem like a silly waste to do it here at TDC, right? I mean, you look at all the different Gogeta Blues we've gotten, they're all transforming, right? We've gotten the Fizz LR, we've gotten the 5th year, we've gotten the AGL, and none of them are standalone blue, obviously. And of course, there's also the contentious fact that he's got no more animations. All his animations are used up. So if they do touch on Gogeta Blue, it's gotta be with something brand new, like a Dokkan original animation. And we don't know if they're ready to do that at TDC just yet. So that's why I think, while that is a possible theory based on the information we have, I don't know that it's the highest rated theory. I don't think it's going to happen here at TDC. However, if we do take those other leaks into consideration, there is some other options that we may not have talked about. And one thing I want to point out is kind of what's going on right now as we're closing out the campaign for movie heroes and movie bosses, really, for the Metal Cooler and the Tech Turles. Half of that villain super ratio is kind of missing, right? We just got a huge month of buff for movie bosses, but not for the movie heroes. So a movie hero could easily slide in to fill this TDC slot, but focused on a different movie. And I kind of feel that might put us with two particular movies if we go based on the two images here from the Transcendent Dokkan Campaign live broadcast thumb and this here. The first one takes a little bit more work here, right? So for those of you who are aware, right, you guys know that in the lead up to the start, the finale of this campaign, we've got this little event here that's giving us these keys, right, to test our luck, to get stones. Now, in this event, we are going against a Hercule, right? And this Hercule, as I just had up here, as you'll notice, is from the Majin Buu saga. Now you could say, oh, well, maybe that means TDC could be Majin Buu saga. After all, Tech Tabura, who should have returned on Cooler's banner, did not. That means he's got to be returning here somewhere. Very likely on the TDC banner. It would make sense for him to show up on the TDC banner if TDC is centered around Majin Buu saga, right? He could easily slot into that team. But there's something we have to remember. You see, a while ago, Dokkan took a lot of these characters who were in later movies, specifically from the return movie 8, or no, specifically from movie 10, Fusion Reborn, and Wrath of Dragon, and placed them all on Majin Buu saga, except for the fusions. Now, if we take that into consideration, there is one possibility that does sort of fit everything we've talked about before, and I have mentioned that this is a very strong possibility to lead the TDC, and that is, if we're going the movies route, Super Saiyan 3 Goku from the Fusion Reborn movie, right? He's one of the biggest movie characters from the from the later movies that has yet to receive modern animations. Heck, even Pikkon from this movie has gotten modern animations. Janemba, modern animations. Obviously, Gogeta has modern animations. But the Super Saiyan 3 Goku, one of the biggest moments in that movie, right? Arguably the best Super Saiyan 3 transformation, in my opinion, has not yet been fully represented in Dokkan. This could be the opportunity to introduce that. Right? And if they really want to play with it, TDC, Tanabata, as it used to be known, used to be centered around the theme of cooperation. They really want to take it a step further. They could do something similar to what AGL Pikkon was, right? Whereas his was Unit Super, they could do this as a tag, right? Super Saiyan 3, since we already have tag Super Saiyan 2 Goku and Vegeta Angel from this movie, why not tag Super Saiyan 3 into Pikkon? Not only would this give AGL Pikkon and Fizz Pikkon a home that they didn't have since last year, and they might still be useful depending on the content, but it could also be a very interesting tag. You want to take it a step further, if you really got to sell us a Gogeta, right? Because we need those fusions. You could do a tag Pikkon and Vegeta, kind of similar to how, or not Gogeta, Pikkon and Gogeta, right? Kind of similar to how they did with this. Although I don't know if we could. You can justify Golden Frieza maybe as a headliner. I don't know if we can justify Pikkon as a headliner for TDC, but you know, you could do something like that, right? If you really wanted to switch it up so as we're not redoing too much. Although I do personally think Super Saiyan 3 Goku is a very good option to lead it. The next possibility, of course, right, if we really play into what's going on here in the background of this image, right, the scorching onslaught, everything's on fire, right, everything's on fire. We could maybe play into where is it here? I have it up here. The Wrath of Dragon, right? This could in fact be referring to Hirudegarn and his destruction of the city in that movie, right? Using his fire breath attack to kind of, you know, maybe it could be. I don't know. I do, but of course, Hirudegarn obviously wouldn't be the headliner, but a new Dragon Fist Goku, possibly with those good animations. But this one, I feel is now we're starting to get in the territory of really unlikely. But I know a lot of people are saying that this is an option, but I don't see them doing this, if only because they took this animation and gave it to Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta last year. So I don't know if they're ready to do that animation again, but on a Super Saiyan 3 Goku. So that might be out of the question. At least if we did this, right, he would have his own animation with the twin Dragon Fist. At least it's different, right? Hard to say on this one. I think this one is less likely, but I just wanted to put it in here because I know people have mentioned it as a possibility based on the information we have. Don't worry, we're making our way to the last one. So the next one, of course, is Dragon Ball Super, right? Maybe with this, the green and the orange we're seeing, like the green and the orange we're all seeing, referring to specifically Piccolo, right? Piccolo, I think, especially Orange Piccolo, a standalone Orange Piccolo, could easily carry a celebration all on himself. You want to tag him with Beast, fine, but he's another one like I could if they decide to go the Beast route, right? Beast could probably be saved for a 12th anniversary, but a tag Piccolo, right, with a Beast behind him could work, or even just a standalone Orange Piccolo, I think could easily carry a TDC by himself, which of course means hit the part 2 LR. So that's the other thing you have to consider for all of these. Who are the part 2 LRs? With Orange Piccolo, that means we got to do another Cell Max. There's not really a whole lot to work with there. So this one, while would be great, it would help out the New Year's units. It does kind of, I don't know. It's a tough one because of who the possibility of the part 2 LR is, right? If we look at the other ones, right? If we go Wrath of Dragon, this is an easy one. We're long overdue for a new Janemba anyways, so that's not a big deal. If we do Broly movie, obviously that's kind of out of the question because we're due for EZAs in a month or in a few months, and we're due for, and we literally just got a Wrathful Broly last year. So I feel like that one's out of the question. If we go with any of the other options, Namek Saga seems like very likely because you could easily set up Super Saiyan Goku in part 1, Frieza in part 2, and you've got everything covered there. So when you really think about it that way, it kind of makes more sense about who the possible part 2 LR is. And that brings us to our final possibility, right? When we consider everything that we've been given so far, one last possibility still kind of fits within everything we know. It's movie heroes. There's a lot of green. There is destruction, right? Although I wouldn't play too much on the Scorching Onslaught type deal. But the colors specifically, and movie heroes and movie bosses, Bojack's Unbound is another good option. Centering on a Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, possibly, maybe with like a revive counter into Goku, right? That comes down to save Gohan, and then you come back. I would just prefer he just be Super Saiyan 2 the whole way. But you could maybe do the revive counter into Super Saiyan 2 or something. And then, of course, this opens up part 2 for a new full power Bojack, because we don't have a standalone full power Bojack, at least not a premium one. So that could be an option, right? We have Transforming Bojack, we have the Bojack and the Hera clan, so it's possible. All right, it definitely works, and it fits the rest of the themes here that we've seen so far. So that is kind of all of the possibilities. I believe the most likely still is probably Planet Namek Saga, followed by the Fusion Reborn, specifically the Super Saiyan 3 side, or the Wrath of Dragon. I think those are probably the 3 most likely candidates for this. I really doubt we're going to touch on Superhero or Dragon Ball Super Broly, if only because of the upcoming EZAs. But who knows? Dokkan's done crazier things before. So, guys, that is it for our video. Those are who I believe are the most likely candidates we will see in the live stream on Friday. When is it? Friday at 1900 PST, so that'll be about 5 p.m. HST my time. So guys, that is it for the video. If you like the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And like I said in the beginning, in the comments down below, let us know, of the options we've given, which do you think is most likely? And if you think there's another possibility, let us know in the comments down below. What do you think we're going to get for this Transcendent Dokkan campaign? Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and aloha.